Hey everybody, this is Peter with Cooking with Peter. I don't know about you, but I love pork chops, especially smoked and air-fried pork chops. Did you know the Americans eat about 51 pounds of pork per year? That's a lot. However, whenever I go to my friend's house and they're cooking pork chops, it's delicious, but sometimes they're just as hard as a rock because they overcook them. And in my opinion, that's an epic fail. I'm going to show you 3 different things that you can do to make your pork chops not be the epic failure. Instead, they're going to be delicious, juicy, and absolutely great to eat. Okay, I'm going to go over the list of ingredients I'm going to be using today, and I'm going to be using pork loin, and you'll want to use pork loin cuts that are about 1 inch to 1.25 inches thick. So what I do is I use a ruler and I just measure out just a little bit over 1 inch, and then I make the cuts. And I'm going to be using 4 pork chops today. That's what I've cut out. The next step to making really good pork chops is to brine the pork chops. Let me show you how I do this brine, and I'll tell you the ingredients that go into the brine. First, you want to put 1 cup of water into your cooking vessel. Next, you're going to add about 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of sea salt or kosher salt. If you're going to be using regular table salt, cut that back to about 1/8 cup. Otherwise, it's going to be way too salty. Next, I put in about 1 teaspoon of Old Bay seasoning, 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Then I put in 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. I really like the flavor of that smoked paprika. Then what I do is I stir it all together, let it get hot, and then you let it cool off. Now, if you're like I am sometimes and you're in a rush and you don't have time for that brine to cool off, you can also pour the brine over about 2 or 3 cups of ice, and then put about 1 cup of water into that, mix it up, and then it gets really cold really fast. You can take your pork chops, put them into a Ziploc style bag, and pour the brine on top. Now you're going to want to let those pork chops marinate, and I put mine in the refrigerator and let them marinate for a minimum of 2 hours. You could also let them go overnight. Now, what I have here are the 4 pork chops that I had in the brine. I then took them out of the bag, of the Ziploc bag with the brine. I then dried off the pork chops. I dried them off on both sides. I'm just going to use a little bit of oil and spray on top of the pork chops on both sides. To add a little more seasoning, what I use is this Montreal steak seasoning. You can use any kind of seasoning you want. You don't want to use a lot because the brine has already made the pork chops a little salty. I do like a little more salt and pepper and garlic and all that onto the pork chops. So that's what I'm putting here. If you remember Emeril Lagasse, if you're an old guy like me, you remember Emeril Lagasse on the television show a long time ago on Food Network. I watched him for years, love the guy. He always said, where he buys his meat, it doesn't come seasoned. Be sure that you're going to season both sides of your pork, just as I've done here. These pork chops are going to be going onto my Ninja Woodfire Grill on the air crisp mode. Let me go outside and show you how I've set up my Ninja Woodfire Grill. All right, everybody, we're here at the Ninja Woodfire Grill, and as you can see, I've already put the pellets into the pellet hopper. Now I'm going to turn the Ninja Woodfire Grill on, and I'm going to set it to the air crisp mode. I'm going to set the temperature at about 390 degrees. I'll set the temperature for 1 hour. It's not going to take that long, but the Ninja Woodfire Grill is going to need to go through its first heat up series to get kind of nice and hot, and also to burn off some of that initial flavor from the smoke pellets. I want that most of that kind of bad smoke to go away. Let me show you the next steps I'm going to be doing with the pork. When you take your pork chops, you can use a knife like this and just make an incision into the fat. When you do this, as the pork cooks, it will not curl up. Typically, this is done with thin pork chops, but I like to do it no matter the size of pork chops that I'm cooking. The next step, I'm going to be putting in a temperature probe into the meat. I want to choose typically the least thick. So here I have my wireless probe, and I'm just going to be putting that in through here, down to the point of where it needs to be. One of the things you need to remember to do is to cook the pork to about 138 degrees Fahrenheit. For my friends and subscribers across the pond, that's at about 59 degrees Celsius. When it hits 138 degrees, you want to take it out of the wood fire grill or whatever you're cooking it on, because you don't want to overcook the pork. That is a critical mistake that most people make. They think they need to cook pork to 160, 165 degrees. All that's going to do is to dry out the pork and make it very, very tough. 138 is the temperature that you want to pull the pork off, 59 degrees C. Then we're going to bring it back into the house, wrap it up and let it rest for about 10 minutes. During that time, it's going to come on up to 142 to 145 degrees Fahrenheit, about 62 degrees Celsius. So I've done those steps. Now we're going to go back outside and we're going to put the pork into the Ninja Woodfire Grill. I want to make a note also that I'm using the air crisp or air fry basket in the Ninja Woodfire Grill today. I'm not putting the pork right onto the grill. Now you might say, hey Peter, why are you using two different probes? It's because I don't trust them. So I use two probes just to make sure that the meat is cooking as I want it to. Put the lid down, and here we are off to the races. Again, I'm going to be cooking to temperature, not time. I'm going to be going to 138 degrees, okay? See you in a bit. Okay, my friends, here we have it. I've taken these smoked and air fried pork chops off of the Ninja Air Fryer Grill. Here they are. They look fantastic. I'm sorry to tell you that I now have to taste these for you and tell you how good they are. So let me get a bite of this. They came out perfectly. They're so tender, they're so juicy, and incredible. They are perfectly seasoned, a little salty, which is just the way I like it. If you don't like a lot of salt, you can cut back on the salt a little bit, but I love pork that's salty. I want to thank you for watching the video today. Please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, it's really important. Leave a comment down below if you decide to make this dish, and let us know how it turned out for you. Just click the link down below and you can download the recipe for free from my website. You can also become a supporting member of the channel. Just click that join link below and you can become a kitchen assistant, a sous chef, or my boss, being the executive producer. Thanks again for watching the video today, and we'll see you next time. Please try this, it is fantastic. See you next time.